This is a Honda XL500S from 1980. It's a real classic. It doesn't look too bad. It's almost complete original as it was back in 1980. You can see it's dirty. Some unfortunate paint attempt here. It's flaking off. Yeah, it's old. It's 45 years old. So of course, some wear and tear. That's what you gotta expect. But it's much worse than it looks. The good thing is that it is more or less complete. Not sure if it's the original indicators. I think there are some aftermarket parts. The handlebar controls are not the original, not the mirrors. Some few stuff are missing or replaced. But most of the motorcycle is as it was original. And yeah, I want to keep it like that. This bike is just going to be restored back to how it once was. That's the plan. And it wasn't red. It's the wrong color. It was white. In my registration papers, it says this motorcycle is white. I can also see where the paint is flaking off. It's white underneath. So I will also put it back to how it once was. You can also see it's not the original decals here now. Should be some painting on the side cover there. But there are two big problems with this motorcycle. A bit of a sad story, really. It has been in the family for 4 years. So I have been the owner, but my son has used it as his daily commuter. So it has been ridden all up until 2 weeks ago. And then somebody tried to steal it, unsuccessfully. They break open the ignition, teared off the side cover, which now is broken, tried to wire up to get it started. But you know, this has no electrical start. This is a Kickstarter only. And it's quite a challenge to get it started. The engine hasn't been that good. It does have a bit of a blue smoke and not that easy to start it. So you really need to learn this bike to get it to start. And the thief didn't manage to start it. That probably made them angry and threw the bike away and did some huge damage. So a lot of the parts taken off here in the box is bent because it's been thrown into the ground and dragged along. So the foot pegs and the gear shifter here, it's bent and it's dented and yeah, really sad story. Cracks in the front fender and the side panels. Also what happened is this one became very loose. And just some few days after the theft attempt, something happened inside the engine. The spring that's pulling the kicks back broke off. So it came out a couple of metal pieces from the engine, and the kick was just loose, hanging. So something has come loose inside the engine. So it's a no-runner. The engine really needs a rebuild, total rebuild, because I think it has low compression, used a lot of fuel, and I could feel it wasn't delivering the horsepower it was meant to. So this will be a total rebuild. Not sure when I'm gonna start it, but I'm gonna clean it, and I'm gonna do something I don't recommend anyone to do when it comes to the cleaning, so don't do what I'm gonna do now. And the other thing I don't recommend anyone to do is what I'm gonna do when it comes to the restoration project. Let me tell you about it while I'm washing the bike. Alright, let me pause here for a second. What you're gonna see here is the exact reason for why you should never use a turbo nozzle on your pressure washer when washing your motorcycle. Well, that is, unless you have a motorcycle like I have, that you're gonna strip down anyway. I guess you maybe have a hunch of what's gonna happen now, or maybe not. Well, roll tape. Yeah, so a pretty effective paint stripper there, at least on the front fender. For the rear fender, I got off some of the paint. Just remember, any oil is also blown away, and possibly dirt can be blown into ball bearings through sealings. So this is not a smart move if you're not gonna replace your chain and go over all ball bearings and maybe even electrical components that are now soaked with water everywhere. So for washing your motorcycle, never use a pressure washer. Just use a regular hose and a sponge and soap and do a proper cleaning. I never do it like this normally. This is an exception. That's also the case for my next job, which is something I also never have done before and do not recommend. And that is, I am going to take this bike totally apart. Put it into boxes and hide it away in my storage system. I just don't have space in my garage to store the bike. I already have one project there. This project is for later. So I just want to demount the bike and tuck it away wherever I can put it. And that is a terrible idea, because maybe it will take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know whenever I'm gonna have time to restore this motorcycle. And then I won't remember anything, where I put it and how it was assembled, unless I record everything, put all the parts into boxes or bags, write down everything so I know all the parts and I can easily reconstruct the job. And that's what I'm gonna do now. Step 1, take the whole bike apart and spread it out on my garage floor.
On the outside, looking in, I really wasn't sure what I was getting. Between the high waves on the sea, waiting for something to get to me.
I decided to start taking off the rear fender first. For no reason really. Everything's gonna come off anyway, but I just gotta start somewhere. My plan is pretty simple. Take off the biggest part that seems to be most easily accessible. I am, by the way, 100% sure that the turn signals are not the original ones, and you can see the taillight is damaged and repaired with tape, so I need to find new parts for this bike. If it happens that you have some spare parts, please contact me. I would love to buy them from you. Or if you know about aftermarket parts that are identical with the original ones, like the mirrors I showed you previously. I managed to buy brand new mirrors that are replicas, 100% identical to the original ones.
I wasn't sure what I was hoping for, you see. But you act like gravity and you appeal to me. 'Cause you know what I want, babe. And you know everything that gets me going. You know what I want, babe. All the little things that I'm not showing. You know what I want, babe. And you know it all before I do it. You know what I want, babe. You know what I need before I show it. I saw it fire from the sea. I didn't know what it was telling me. Like Robert Zimmerman singing a song. Just gotta keep on keeping on.
If you think this chain guard looks a bit strange, you're right. It's made out of 2 parts and the rear part has fallen off. And just in case it should be any doubt about what you should do, if you have one of the parts you can see in this video I am missing, and this is not optional, you need to contact me. I do assume, however, that the wear and tear parts like the chain and sprockets and brake pads, the things that you normally wear out, should be pretty easy to buy new to replace them. So it is the specific part that is made for this or similar motorcycle that can be a struggle to find. And then the next big thing to take off is the exhaust muffler.
I really wasn't sure what I was hoping for, but you knew everything you've done this all before. You know what I want, babe. You know what I need before I show it.
It is of course not possible to take off the exhaust muffler before taking off the wheel first. Maybe I should have known that. I didn't know that, but now I know it. I've actually never taken the wheel off this bike before, but it should be an easy task now that the chain is already removed. I was wrong again. The axle was stuck. But luckily my neighbor popped by and helped me pull the wheel. It was actually no rust on the axle, just a lot of black oil, possibly 45 years old.
And you know everything that gets me going. You know what I want, babe. All the little things that I'm not showing. You know what I want, babe. And you know it all before I do it. You know what I want, babe. You know what I need before I show it. You know what I want, babe. You know what I want. You know what I want. You know what I want, babe.
And just like that, the biggest parts on the rear half of the motorcycle is taken off. And it's time to take a look at the front part. The front wheel is of course the biggest part here, but not really sure how to support the bike yet, so I'm starting by taking off the front fender. Very easy, just 4 bolts. Right, it's time to be moving on to the headlight bucket. From my past experience, here is where I normally find the ghost of mechanic past. And yup, look at this spaghetti. Once in a time, this was a 6-volt system. And someone has upgraded it to 12 volt. That was actually my son and I. But the wiring harness on this bike was already a mess when we took over. And we did what is normally done. We added more mess to it. Then it's the dashboard. It has seen better days as well. The ignition lock is completely busted. I'll either have to fix this or find a replacement, because starting the bike with a screwdriver isn't really the vibe I'm going for. I wanted to clear off the handlebars next. First, the front brake cable. Yeah, this bike has cable-operated drum brakes both in front and rear. We don't need no fancy modern hydraulic nonsense, do we? Then it's the throttle grip. But the throttle grip says no. Change in plans. Let me just disconnect everything else first.
You didn't know back then what you've been knowing now. Before the broken skin and letting your love out, playing the tape again. It's such a sorry sound. Old shaky monologue, just dragging you around, reaching for reset, reaching for reason to begin, watching the sunset, front porch cigarette with my best
I've never had a bike with so many cables as this one. Rear and front brake cable, speedometer cable, clutch cable, choke cable, and yes, of course, 2 throttle cables for both pull and push. Even if it's just one carburetor. Well, I gotta give it to Honda. They did really keep the steel cable industry in business back in 1980. And there is actually even one more cable when I think of it. Can you guess what it is? As I pull off part by part, I gotta say, it's strangely satisfying seeing the bike getting simpler by the minute. Simpler and cleaner, so to say. And I'm already starting to look forward to putting it back together sometime in the future. But then, of course, much, much better. Finally, it's time to be tearing out the main wiring harness. And honestly, I'm not being gentle here. And I'm not gonna be writing down anything about this wiring. This is all going in the bin. I'm building a completely new system from scratch called the Control MC system. It's my own design based on microcontrollers and with CAN bus communication between units. So fingers crossed it works better than what's here. Did you guess the mystery cable? It was hiding here under the harness. It's the decompression cable connected to the Kickstarter. Basically, it keeps you from breaking your ankle when you try to start this beast of an engine. The previous owner did actually tell me that a neighbor kid of him had got his leg broken when trying to start this exact motorcycle. So this is not a bike you should mess around with if you don't know what you're doing. So to any future thieves, just stay away from this bike. That's my best advice.
What you've been knowing now. Black lines of dominoes, pushing each other down. When all the games run through, with all the players set, I'll still be here with you. Are we big winners yet? I'm reaching for reset.
This plastic shield had to be taken off to get the wiring harness out. To get the shield out, I needed to pull the airbox. To pull the airbox, I had to pull the carburetors. It's the classic mechanics domino effect. You wanna loosen one bolt and end up disassembling half the bike. This time it didn't really matter, since I'm about to take the whole bike apart anyway. And then my brain completely short-circuited. I was supposed to be removing the wiring harness, but I noticed all the rusty bolts on the exhaust manifold and I got immediately sidetracked. I was afraid this could be a challenge to get off, but all the bolts were luckily very loose. Actually, except for a stubborn rear wheel axle, the teardown has been really easy so far. But the biggest challenge is probably to get the engine out, so it's probably a bit too soon to celebrate yet. Okay, it's time to finally take off the wiring harness. I'm actually labeling one cable. I need to cut it because it comes from the stator inside the engine and it goes directly to the regulator rectifier. Even though I'm going to rework the wiring harness with my Control MC system, the charging and ignition system will most likely be kept as is. Putting on labels or writing down how the wiring goes is smart to do, even though it's not going to be reused. It might be helpful later to understand what goes where.
Oh, little bird, when you step out the shower, what is it that you always write on the mirror? You're up all night. Oh, little bird, in the dead of the day, you're pumping gas in the shadow of a freeway. The gas attendant smiles at you and waves. You feel like you've known him your whole life in some way.
approximately halfway disassembled, I would say, maybe even more. Here are all the parts taken off so far. And yeah, no problems, I would say. I've just put all my tools on this table as I've used them, so really nothing to talk about, just tools that everyone has in their workshop. But now the next job will be to take off the engine. Or should I take off the front wheel first? I'm not sure really what's the best here. But I use this as an excuse for buying a new tool. You know, if you can find an excuse to buy a tool, go for it. To lower down the engine, I think I need this kind of a motorcycle engine lift thingy. I wish actually it was bigger, more like a square footprint, so I can stabilize the engine. The engine is quite flat underneath. This one is very slim, but let me open it up and see if it's usable. It's rated to 500 kilos, so that sounds good. The XL500S is 140 kilos when it's fully assembled, so now I guess it's probably less than 100. And a couple of extra boxes to have parts in. I think this engine is really easy to take off. To my knowledge, it's one bolt here at the rear, then rear top, and then it's this front part. Yeah, and it's an engine mount here as well, of course. I've already taken off the bash plate, and the engine itself is actually a structural component. So that is pretty innovative, I would say. This bike being from 1980s, keeping the weight down on the motorcycle. And very nice that the engine is completely flat on the underside. And I've already measured it. It's about 30 centimeters from the floor up underneath the engine, while this one goes 40 centimeters. I think I want to put something underneath there. Yes. Yeah. So then taking off all the mount, see how this goes. The first bolt was a 17mm nut, so that's pretty standard. And it had a spacer on one side, on the right side.
My brother's going down the drain. My sister's living the dream. But everybody's singing along. It's okay, we'll all soon be gone.
That was two of the bolts. Then it's hanging on this one, and then it's the front. I think I'll take off this first. And remember, when doing jobs like this, especially jobs you haven't done before, don't forget to take a sip of coffee or tea or whatever in between. Just take a look. Am I doing something stupid? Is it something I shouldn't have done or forgot to do? Just take a minute in between, and maybe you can prevent an accident. I don't think this is the standard. That one is a 13, that one is a 12, and that's a 14.
It's okay, we'll all soon be gone. Hey, what's the matter with the bright red lights? Hey, in the moment when the world went blind. But everything's alright, we don't give a damn this time.
Okay, so now it's just these bolts remaining. The engine seems to be quite firm, So let me unbolt this.
Everyone's a hypocrite. In this game we cannot win. Hey, what's the matter with the bright red lights?
And finally I got to use 16mm as well, so these bolts had all kind of variants. And this should be the last bolt. To my knowledge, the engine is now loose. It's just standing on this platform. Should be just to drop it down. Just needs a helping hand. Yep, it was just stuck here in between of these tabs. A tiny bit. I think maybe I need to turn it around. Yes, exactly. Like this. So now what would have been cool was if there was some tiny small wheels. So I could now just move this around as a trolley. But this engine, it isn't really heavy, so I can probably just carry it. I'm just gonna lean it towards the wall here. And this one, highly recommended. Made it very easy to take off the engine, and I would assume it's even more helpful when I'm putting the engine back, because then I need to carefully lift it up in between of all the mounts. I think this was a good investment. It wasn't expensive either. Then I'm pretty close to being fully done with the disassembly. But I wonder now, how am I gonna take off the front wheel? And the trick we used back in the good old days when we had bicycles was to just flip the bike upside down. And maybe it was a bit premature to take off the handlebar. So I'll try to do the same trick here. Okay, like this. Maybe this is a stupid idea. But, this shouldn't be too heavy now, I would guess. It's really important to find the right tool for the job. Just a small switch to a better tool and everything goes like a breeze.
Art and guilty pleasure, things that we can't measure, take us to the moon. Heaven, hell, or apathy, Indian, Asian, European, who we? No one is immune. Spark, deep inside, we all thrive, and the man on the other side is a reflection of you and I. Spark, the antidote of our lives, cut down on correction, lead us with affection.
Then it's time to tackle the front fork and the rear fork. I have actually not yet put things into bags or boxes and labeled them. I feel every part has been so unique or so standard that it's like if it's a regular M8, M6, M5 bolt, I will probably replace it with a new one. And if it's a specific bolt, I put it back to where it belongs. I would say each part is so unique, can't really go wrong. So I hope now, just having this video, I can remember back to how it all was. I would say easy stuff so far. Should I write right and left? I do remember what was right and left, don't I? Because this with this bracket was on that side. And for the last final disassembly, I think I'll use my table here and put the remaining parts on top of it. Of course, I do have a motorcycle lift table over there. It would have been smart to just put it on top of it, and then I could adjust the height and work a bit more comfortable than crawling on the floor. But, well, it's too late now. Remember, coffee or tea.
All or nothing, no gray zones. Species die, no major tones. Take us to the moon. Ancient Greek and dinosaurs. If you were here, you show us remorse.
Take off the handlebar again.
Spark deep inside, we all thrive, and the man on the other side.
This bearing here is totally... I'm not even sure how to say it. Look at this. It's probably no grease left in these bearings. Well, that's a job for later. Now, the rear subframe.
We can go anywhere, do anything. Spark deep inside, we all thrive, and the man on the other side is a reflection of you and I. Spark, the antidote of our lives. Cut down on correction, lead us with affection. Spark, deep inside, we all thrive, and the man on the other side is a reflection of you and I. Spark, the antidote of our lives. Cut down on correction, lead us with affection.
This is a Honda XL500S from 1980. Disassembled. And I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking about it myself. What have I achieved, really? No, the motorcycle just occupies more space than it did when it was assembled. It would be much better to just tuck the motorcycle away in a garage, in a corner, or at the end of a garage or something. If I had one, but I don't. But what I have is a storage solution upstairs. So I have now put all the parts, the small parts here, in one section. So these parts are no problem. This will be handled perfectly in my storage solution. Then I have these 4 parts here at the end. These are a bit too big and heavy. They can't fit into my storage solution. So these I need to find another spot for. So I have these 4 pieces now instead of one big motorcycle. But that is a bit easier for me than to try to deal with a complete motorcycle. So for me, this makes sense. Now at least I have this video, so I know how everything goes back into place. I can just rewind this video and play it in reverse, and then I know how to put it back, hopefully. So, yeah, you're not gonna see me carry all this stuff upstairs and put it into drawers, do you? Do you? And just like that, I used 2.5 of my drawers upstairs. I have actually 80 drawers in my storage system. 40 of them, the topmost, are small, but the 40 at the bottom, similar size as the one I used. So I think I can store a couple of bikes more up there. And the remaining parts now here is then just to get this out to my shed, and I have freed out the space to restart again the work on my cafe racer. 2 days, 2 evenings is the time I spent to take the whole bike apart. That's not bad. Remember, I also have recorded the whole process. Can probably take apart a bike like that in a day. So that's not bad. There is just one problem. After I tidy up the space here, I found this. And I have no idea where it's coming from. It is apart from the motorcycle. But if you know what this is, I would like to hear from you. And thank you for watching this video. And I hope to see you back in 2029. Perhaps that's the year when I'm going to build the Honda XL500S from 1980. But if you know what this is, please let me know.